Hello. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Studying the Masters. I am Alicia Dianne, and I am excited to be here. This is our number 8, I believe, of Studying the Masters. So I'm going to jump right into our Photoshop window, and let me pop this thing up a little bit more. Oops, what did I do? Oh no. It's like I pulled out my Photoshop window. Let me see if I can, my bar. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, so let me bring this up a little bit bigger. And let's see, I'm going to change my window view, workspace. This should be fine, hopefully. Okay, everything's good. Everything is well. I was getting a little bit nervous. I thought I messed everything up there, but everything is fine. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm having a good morning. It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm very happy to be alive. It's always good to start off the day with something that you're grateful for, and that's one thing that I am definitely grateful for today. So let me pull this up a little bit bigger. And actually, I need to add to this just for a second because I didn't get all of these references from Livelily. The website down here that I have listed, livelily.blogspot.com, it's a great resource and it's an awesome resource for animators and for anyone interested in finding visual development art or let me see what else do they have. They have concept art, they have storyboards, they have animatics, they have all kinds of great stuff. So if you are interested in that sort of thing and getting references, then that's a great website. But I also did get some image references from Pinterest and I think Google too. So I'll just click Google. I'll leave anybody out there and I'll pull this down just to make sure that I have my references right. If you do any sort of work like this where you are using references that are not your own drawings, it's good to just point out where you're sourcing your material from. That way, nobody thinks that you're trying to claim it as your own work because the images on the left are not my own work. Those are Marc Davis drawings, and Marc Davis was one of the Nine Old Men. He was an animator at Disney from, gosh, when did he start? He started a long time ago. That's all I can say. I don't have his full biography, but I can tell you, I think one of the first films that he worked on was Bambi, and he just moved through and did a whole bunch of stuff since then. He was very, very popular for the leading ladies. He was very, very good at doing the women, and the first female that he animated, which was a starring role, like a major starring role, was Cinderella, and that's who I have for us here right now. Cinderella is one of my all-time favorite movies ever. It's an amazing movie. I just think it's a classic, and no one can just deny how wonderful it was done. He is also very well known for doing a lot of the female villains, like Maleficent, and probably even most well known for doing Cruella de Vil. He's also done a lot of the female heroines, such as not only Cinderella but also Sleeping Beauty. He did Tinkerbell, which is obviously a huge just poster girl for Disney itself and Disneyland, and I think that she's just a classic. Um, what else can I say about Marc Davis before we get started? Um, Super talented at drawing animals. He did Bambi. He did Bambi's girlfriend, Faylene, and a couple of the other animal drawings there. He was an amazing artist and really, really good at animals, anatomy, and that's one of my favorite things. And one of my specialties is doing animals. And so that's one of the reasons why I definitely had to include Marc Davis into our Studying the Masters series. So without any further ado, we can go ahead and get started. And let's see. What else can I say? I just think that he's amazing. You guys should definitely look him up. I'm going to post a link to this little mini documentary about Marc Davis, which I've seen a few times, and I think it's great for you to see as well. It's called Disney Family Album, and it's featuring Marc Davis, and actually has live interview footage with him. And I think it's a great watch. It's not that long; it's only like 30 minutes, and it will really give you some insight because he was actually one of the most influential Disney artists of the golden age, and even one of our favorites here, which is gosh, I had little whips, Milk Call. Milk Call was extremely competitive, and anyone who has worked with him, all the interviews that I've seen, they say how Milk Call was always trying to outdo people, and like one of the main people that he was trying to really, outdo was Marc Davis because of all of the hype and excitement. These animators, and not in a negative way. It was like a friendly competition where they were always trying to learn more and do better and challenge each other, and really like seeing someone do an amazing piece of work was really like an inspiration to do something that could be even greater, because still animation was still new. But anyway, I'm carrying on. So I just think that without Marc Davis, even Milk Call wouldn't have been as great as he has become. So anyway, without any further ado, we're going to get started. We're going to do 10-minute poses here. So I'm going to start with these. And let's make sure that I'm on the right layer. I don't want to not be. And we're going to do 10-minute poses today. And if you are here from Cartoon Arts Center, I just want to give you a little special welcome and say thank you for joining, and hope that you will draw along with me. This is an interactive drawing. It's not just me. So if you are watching, you can go ahead and grab a pencil, grab a pen, grab something to work with, grab something to draw with, and you will be able to draw here. Just want to go through and try and get a little bit of an outline. I'm working with a new nib, so I have to get a little bit more used to it, but I think I'll be okay. I'm looking for a new nib for my, what is it called? I always forget what these things are called that we use for the laptop. Well, not for the laptop, but for, getting my words. I need to keep my little language dictionary close to me to make sure that I'm talking about the right things. Yeah, what is it called? Oh well, the little pen tool that we use for tablets, and I'm actually using a Cintiq. So we have like all these different types of nibs, which is really cool. It's my first Cintiq. I've been using it for a few years now, but I really like that it gives you different options. One make space. And let's see. So that I'll get a sense for weight. And after I finish doing this very crudely roughly drawn sketch here, I'm going to go over it and begin to clean it up on a separate layer. Let me see. I want to actually cut this in place and take opacity down a bit and begin to go over it with another layer. Use a nice deep brown color to go over her. And let's see. She has really soft eyes. And one thing that I'm starting to notice with characters as I've been doing this, studying the Master series, is that whenever the character has really light eyes, particularly blue eyes, the pupils are drawn really small. It's hard to tell on a character that has like deep brown eyes, like Belle or Moana. But on the characters that have very light eyes, their pupils tend to be really small. I noticed it last week also when I was doing Mother Gothel for Tangled. I just want to pay really close attention. It's no time when you begin to do a little bit of the cleanup. It's no time to rush through it. The original that you do can be really rushed and quick and messy. But when you're starting to clean up, that's really where it counts. So I would always say, don't rush through cleanup. And back in those days, obviously, they had like, the animators weren't doing their own cleanup. Not that they couldn't, it just was too much time. There was a long process. Animating takes a long time. And to get anything done, if the same people were doing their cleanup as were animating and doing in betweens, the film would probably still be getting made. It would probably still be getting made right now. Let's see. Pay a little bit more attention to the line. And think a little bit more about the shapes in her hair. And I was actually, I kind of cheated because I was going to watch a Marc Davis movie, but I changed my mind. Don't worry, I've seen them all many times, many times, and I love them. They're some of my favorites, especially Cinderella. I love Cinderella. I love Sleeping Beauty. I love Peter Pan. I mean, I'm a huge fan of these movies. But I just suddenly had the inkling, I guess, or the urge to watch the Three Caballeros, and I think it's actually was watching the Marc Davis movie that kind of made me feel like watching it because um, it showed a movie that he worked on, Marc Davis worked on, that was really involving the United States going to war with Japan, and it was really sort of Disney paying a little bit of a tribute to um, the soldiers and what was happening in America at the time. And Marc Davis did a lot of work on that film, and it's like a short film, but it's like it still had that kind of vibe, that really early animation vibe that they had in the 40s, and it really reminded me, and even through the 50s, it reminded me of my favorite film of that time era, which is The Three Caballeros, and had to. Just kind of had to for some reason. Which is a dual movie. It's not just it's a two movie in one. Is the way that I have it. It's The Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos, and I really consider it. Even though it's two separate movies, I consider it the same because I have it on two of them together on DVD, and I've been watching it that way for a long time. You might have it too. If you don't, if you've never seen Saludos Amigos or Three Caballeros, I would highly recommend those. I'm sure Marc Davis worked on them too. Now that I think about it, I'm sure he did. I don't know what part he did for this particular movie, but I bet you he had a hand in it, just because he was working at the studio at the time. So maybe I shouldn't say that I'm not watching a Marc Davis movie. I'm just not watching one of his leading leads at the moment. I might just go ahead and make it like a Marc Davis day. Watch some other films of his today, throughout the day. There's really sort of an elegant streamline about her. Even in her rags, there's still like something about her dress, the way that moves, and I don't really like the way. I'm gonna delete that for a second, and not that I'm going to undelete it or anything. There we go. And listen. Anything else has to come up with the power. I'm actually kind of neat because I don't think I've ever drawn Cinderella before in my life. I know that might sound surprising, but I don't think I have. So, very cool. Okay, there's our time. That is our 10-minute timer for doing Cinderella. And I'm going to take it now into our second character, which is Aurora. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to do this timer again for 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and begin. And let's see. I'll take this down a little bit. And what I want to do is really try and break down some of these shapes right off the bat. Break them down, see where is her hip going, where's her leg going, here are her shoulders that kind of are going downward. They use, one of the, Sleeping Beauty is one of my favorite movies to like research. Because I am just amazed by it. It's like the first, I'm pretty sure it's the first Disney movie I've ever seen in my life because it was like my favorite when I was 2 or 3 years old. So it's my first Disney. And what I really love about it, which is different from all of the rest of them, is that they really wanted to incorporate medieval art into the picture. And the film itself is really about well, not what it's about because we all know what it's about. But the essence of the story, as a lot of Disney stories, it's a fairy tale, and it's a classic fairy tale. And really, one of the things that they were trying to do was make it sort of the essence in the time where it was essentially supposed to happen. This is supposed to be a princess who is, trying to be kept safe by her family, and she's put into this awful spell by this witch. And so it's very much a time about a story, I should say, about a monarchy family, which a lot of the princess stories obviously are. But I think they really were trying to capture that essence of what it's like to live in that time. And I think, really, like, what better time to put a story like that than the Middle Ages? And if you ever look at medieval art, it's really cool. It's really interesting. It's very different than the much more highly constructed art that came about in the Renaissance, when they were really trying to get understand anatomy. It was a really different time, and it was much more of a folk art type of thing, and you would see a lot of sharp angles and a lot of not realistic at all shapes, but very interesting to look at. And the illustrator who actually did most of the concept art for the movie, who is Ivan Earl, did an amazing job. And I think really, and gosh, we'll have to like study him at some point. Even though his work is majority backgrounds, I still think like he is one of my favorite artists, and I really think it would be great to study him. But getting back to Mark Davis, who we are actually studying today, a lot of the character design played off of that same feeling, the same vibe of medieval art and angular structure and a lot of sharp shapes. And you can notice that if you just pay even just a little bit of attention to like the shapes in the movie, you'll start to see them standing out in that way. You'll start to see how he sort of brought them together in that sense. And so, even though she's not particularly she's not my favorite princess, but that's saying a lot because I have my favorites. And oh gosh, but I honestly think she is the most beautiful of all of the princesses. I just think that she has like this really nice, pleasant look to her. I really love the design of Aurora. I think that it was really a nice design. I don't think that we get to know her that well in the movie, and that's probably the only reason why she's not particularly my favorite. But I think her design is really almost pleasing to look at. It's so nice, really. And so I'm gonna go ahead and take a separate layer now. I'll bring the opacity down a little bit. Begin to go over my line. Let's see. 9. I'm going to take it to 9 and see what happens. And let's see. Hopefully I can. Oops. Wrong layer. Go back over. I'm going to. Just bring a little bit of life into her. And remember what I was talking about in Figure Friday last week, when I was talking about the 3 stages of drawing, and those were the beginning stage or the child stage, and then it's like all feeling, but no skill involved. That's when you first pick up a pencil and you want to draw a picture of your dog, but you have no idea how to, but you love your dog so much, and you have all of this emotion when you're drawing that there's something just special about it. It just happens, and it's almost like magic. It just sort of like the feeling just gets transcribed into the drawing somehow, and that's like the first beginning stages, and you don't even realize it, but you make great drawings even though you don't have the skill yet. And the second stage is that point where you realize that, hey, I really like this drawing thing. I want to become better. And so you start to study and you want to grow and you want to learn. You're just so hungry to learn that it becomes all about the process and very little about the feeling. So that second stage, which I call the student stage, is all skill and all skill building, but there's really no feeling behind it. And the last stage, the final stage, which I think is a master level that we're all pretty much trying to get to, is where just complete and total harmony of feeling and you're drawing at the same time. And you really want to think about what the character is thinking, even when it's fan art, and even when you're copying your drawing, studying your drawing, we're all like this, like what we're doing right now. This is all student art, but at the same time, I want you to still think about what the character is feeling at the same time. Like what is going through her mind. And if you're drawing, try to just put yourself into that feeling just for a moment so that it will translate into your drawing. So even when you're doing fan art, even when you're doing test art like this to just study, I think it's important to still think about the character's emotions and try and put that into your drawing. Because you'll have times where like you're studying someone else's drawings and it might not look exactly like the character because it takes a long time. Like even for the people who are um, animating professionally these characters, and they have to really learn the character and be able to draw them on model every time. They're not expected to just do that automatically. It doesn't happen instantly. I mean, none of this is like, nobody does that really. And you have some lucky times where you kind of understand a character and you kind of get it faster. But it's still this process of learning the character, especially if you're not the one that designed it. If you design a character, sure, you can draw it again and again. But even if you design a character yourself, I find for me, it still takes me a while to learn how to do them on model every time. So much less when you're trying to do someone else's drawing on model. The first time you do it is probably not going to look exactly like theirs. I know it doesn't happen for me instantly, and that's part of the process here. Is just getting more accustomed to. Oh, we're already done. Getting more accustomed to drawing other people's drawings and finding out what it is that makes them special. So anyway, that was a long, dragged out way of me saying, even if it doesn't look like their drawing, it should still look like it has some type of emotion. Like, you want it to look like it has feeling in it. You don't want it to just look like a dead drawing. And everyone can see, even if you don't know how to draw, everyone can notice a dead drawing instantly. Because there's no feeling there. It's just not there. Okay. So we're going to go ahead to this. Oh, this is great. I love this one. Really love this drawing. This is Aurora's mother. She is Queen something something. I don't remember what her name is, but she's the queen, and she's the mother of Aurora / Briar Rose. She's the only princess with 2 names, but that's okay. And let's see. I'll get my pencil back, and we're just gonna draw her. I just think this is great drawing. So let's go ahead and let me set the timer. And let's go ahead and start. And let's see. I really like, he has a very classic sort of a look. It's very much like, for this particular character, I think it's very much like the print even from that time. From the print and even comics. If you look at comics from that day, it has sort of a similar type of vibe, very feminine look to it. But even still, even with this character that's the mother of Sleeping Beauty, you can still see the use of some of the sharp angles that I was talking about just a little bit ago. That is reminiscent of the Middle Ages, of the medieval times. So it's like this combination of like the modern art that I'm seeing in this particular image myself. It's the combination of that modern style from the 50s and also incorporating that classic style from the Middle Ages. So I think like maybe that's something to think about when you're making art. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Maybe it's something you can think about is maybe incorporating maybe neoclassic art, maybe just Google it and look at some images, and maybe you want to incorporate that with manga style. Like all of these different things and experimenting with stuff like that is going to make you stronger. It's going to be fun to play around with for sure. And it will give you an edge if you're like combining different things and you're always trying to do something that's different, and but still having knowledge of what's been done. And maybe you want to try out some of those things that artists have already done. Artists have worked for hundreds of years, not just to make pretty drawings. I mean, a lot of what other artists were doing was to study and to just practice things that haven't been done before. So use all of that knowledge. It's there for you to use, and it's there for me to use, and it's there for us to learn from, take bits and pieces from, and apply it to our own work. And that's what's great about making art. It's like, scientists today, they're not just starting from scratch. They're using knowledge that was gathered 10 years ago, and 20 years ago, and 100 years ago, and 500 years ago, and beyond that, and they're using the information that other scientists that came before them, you know, and they're using that to to incorporate to their own study. It's the same thing with art. I mean, it's sort of a long, dramatic way of me to say it, but it really is the same way with art. And it's like all of that study and all that knowledge has been done before, so that you can still use it today. And I think it's kind of keeping them alive too. Like all of the study of artists that have worked before us, it's keeping their work alive in the same sense. As long as we're giving them credit for their work and using it as a way to learn, I think it's the best way to pay tribute to them and to learn from them. Without having them as not everybody can have Marc Davis as a professor, but what you do have is his drawings that you can learn from, which is cool. Yeah. There's something about this shape that I want to understand. One thing that I always hear when people talk about drawing, they talk about art, is having symmetry. And symmetry is pretty much having balance. So when you think about a drawing and how you're designing a character, having balance in that character is just going to make it more appealing. Like you see, like there's that sort of arch, that even nice arch that leads you from all the way from the chin to the forehead, but it's a balance, and it's something that I can see without before even drawing the line there. I could see it, but I wanted to like check it and see where things were falling. And there's really like concern look on her face, like really like don't take my baby is pretty much what she's saying. And there's something really genuine about it, I think. I'm always gonna wanna start back again with the eye. And then kind of tension in the eyebrow. And now is the part where I get a little bit quiet because I have to kind of use everything I have to focus a bit on what is happening. What? Worry not. I won't be quiet forever. I just need to figure something out. I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I did. Mark Davis was also an Imagineer, one of the first Imagineers ever. If you don't know what an Imagineer is, worry not. Imagineers were the designers for, and are still designers for the different rides and attractions at Disney parks. And Mark Davis designed, he worked on It's a Small World, he worked on Pirates of the Caribbean, he did a lot of the drawings for that, and a lot of the actual three-dimensional drawings, like, completely 360 drawings for them. What else did he do? He also worked on Abraham Lincoln and designed the Abraham Lincoln that actually is the animatronic that stands up and takes the gosh, don't quiz me on American history, but the State of the Union address, I think, something like that. But Mark Davis did a lot. He was incredibly useful and a great resource for Disney, Mr. Disney, which I would like to call him. He was or what was I think the better term is an invaluable resource. Disney loved having people that he can just turn to and just say, hey, what can we do about this? Or how can this be done? I want this to happen. He really had a lot of ideas. He was just a man of a lot of ideas and wanted people around him who could make these things come to fruition and bring his ideas to life. And so really, Walt was the idea man, and everyone around him pretty much made his dreams come true, really. So, it's really if you look into just a little bit of researching how Disney Studios came to be, and how the Disney parks came to be. There's a lot of effort and a lot of people, but not everyone realizes the really incredible mind. I think people realize it, but I don't know. I know that I didn't really get like how insane, insane but genius mind that Walt Disney had. He just had all of these ideas, all these crazy ideas, and he just wanted people to bring them to life and make them better. And he was a really tough critic all the way up to the end, but he also really loved his artists and expected, what they could actually do, which was the best. And they delivered, obviously. um, that's 10 minutes already. My gosh, it goes quick. It really goes quick. Okay, so let's see. I feel like I want to finish her fingers at least. It's really important to draw the hands, especially if you have a hard time drawing hands. Hands can be, what's the word? What's the word for drawing hands? Challenging and frustrating and intimidating and all of those things. But I think more than anything, people are just afraid of them. So probably intimidating would be the best word for drawing hands, but fear not. Because once you start to really get that it's just another shape, just like everything else, then it makes it a little bit easier to swallow, a little bit easier to digest and take down and just be like, okay, it's just another shape. So don't really think of it as hands, just think of it as a shape that you're going to break down, and then you're going to break down again, and then you're going to break it down again. So whenever I draw hands, I pretty much always start the same way. And that is, and I know I even have like a video, I think, of just hands, but I think you can never really explain hands too much for people because it takes a long time to get. Like for every artist that draws people and animals, hands is like one of those things that everyone has in common. It's hard. They're hard to do. But the good news is they get easier. So I don't think you can ever really explain hands too much. But I'll quickly go over it and then we'll move on to the next image. Anytime you're drawing a hand, you want to think of it as three major parts. That is the palm, the fingers, and the thumb. That's it. You want to kind of think of it just like that. And if you just think of it like that, it makes the whole thing a lot easier. So you're just pretty much drawing the mitten. No matter what the shape or what the size or what the whatever, you're pretty much always drawing a mitten. And then you can start to break it down even more. Okay, so maybe one finger is off to the side. Okay, well, fine. That finger can be off to the side, but I still have my mitten. Then I can break these down. Okay, so these, I have 5 fingers all together. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then this will be a 5. And then I can start to think about, well, where are the knuckles going to be? Okay. Figure out where the knuckles are going to be. This one is kind of like that. All right, that makes it a little bit easier. Then I kind of figure out, okay, where's the center going to be? It's going to be kind of like that, kind of. And I'll start to then think about the tips of the finger. These break down into another part. This one is kind of off to the side, but it's still part of the hand, and I still want it to be connected. So let me think about this coming here, and this coming here. So I still have my hand shape, but I'm just starting to build on it just a little bit. I start to think about, okay, well, where the fingernail's going to be? Maybe somewhere around here. And then I can come back over it and start to really play with it a little bit more and adding just a little bit more detail each time. So it doesn't have to be a hard thing. I mean, it seems complicated, as it is at first, but if you break it down into steps and start to think of them not just as this big abstract object, but just little pieces that all connect to each other, it will start to make a little bit more sense, and you can start to break down the hand just a little bit more. And then you want to think about this wrist. There's always a bone on the wrist. And there you have the hand. I mean, it sounds, I know it's kind of quick, but I think that kind of sums up a much easier way to approach hands, because every artist has that same struggle in common, that hands are hard. But hopefully it helps at least a little bit. And it helps to look at a lot of hands too. Okay, so let's keep moving. Tinkerbell, here we go. She is our girl. And you know what? The one thing I really don't like about Tinkerbell is like how mean she was to Wendy. She's a little bit of a mean girl, but I mean, Peter Pan just wouldn't be the same movie without Tinkerbell. I think we can all admit that the Tinkerbell would just not be the same without Tinkerbell. I mean, Peter Pan would not be the same without Tinkerbell. So I really appreciate that she's here. So, yeah. And I'm gonna add a new layer, and we're gonna start drawing Tinkerbell. And let's see, gonna give us 10 minutes, and we'll do our Tinkerbell. Okay, so like the most obvious thing is her body, her like swagger, I guess. It's the best way I can put it. Is this really her gesture is really obvious to me and standing out, and so I kind of want to get that before I even go into her face. I just want to get that little attitude, that spunky attitude. And even if you see your drawing from a reference, if you want to push it, you can. Like, don't feel like it has to be an exact replica. We're not doing exact replicas here, we're studying. So, if you want, I mean, replica, if you wanted to make a replica, you could just do a photocopy and it would be no reason to draw it. But we are artists and we're drawing, and I wanted to observe and like see, like, what is Tinkerbell doing? She's just giving attitude, and she's just like being dismissive with someone, but and even she's like smiling about it. So she's really kind of, kind of catty a little bit. She's like, got a lot of attitude. She's just like, oh, whatever. I know that you need me. You can't fly without me. So, hashtag bye. And so she's just kind of walking out of there. So, I mean, she has a lot of attitude, but she also has a lot of confidence, which is false confidence. Because if you watch the movie, you'll see that she's super insecure and she's terrified of losing Peter Pan. So that kind of makes her a little bit more deep. The fact that they kind of had that little subtlety of the fact that she acts like she has all this confidence, but really she's super insecure and she doesn't feel completely loved, I guess, or appreciated, which I guess can, for a woman at least, be sort of the same thing. We want to be loved, we want to be appreciated, and I think for that sense, especially that they added that little scene where she was concerned about her hip size. I don't know if most women are concerned about their hip size. I mean, I could like, I would more be concerned about my waist size, honestly. But I mean, back in those days, big hips, I guess, aren't in as much as now. But anyway, she's concerned about gaining weight. So that's one thing that all women, I think, probably or likely have in common. It's like that fear of gaining weight. No. And so in that way, she became very relatable to a lot of women, kind of stands in as this sort of almost like a little bit of a feminine, not a role model, but like just a feminine figure, like representative for feminism in animation, in Disney animation at least. And even though she's not like, forward thinking, that's not what I was trying to say. She's just a representative of like female energy and female thought, and for that reason, I think she's kind of cool. Because I mean, I think we can all relate to her sort of vibe. Take her head down just a little bit. I think I made it a little bit too big. And gonna go ahead and let's see these wings. And let's see. And let's see. Her skirt is really short, actually. See, but it still does its job. It still covers everything it's supposed to cover. So I'm trying to get all of that in. Make sure that I'm doing that right. And let's see. I think her legs could be a little bit longer. That one. Actually, I'm gonna move that because I'm gonna do one leg at a time. Let's see. I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to make her legs longer without keeping this, without losing the sort of energy. So they would have to be further apart. Okay. I think that is about right where I want it to be anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the opacity down a little bit and make a new layer. Oops, not two new layers, just one new layer. And let's go ahead and give that a try. And now, just got a very high up eyebrow. Goes along with her attitude. And I want to keep, for the most part, that look she has going. It's a very rounded chin, and it doesn't come very far out either. That's what it looks. Looks a little bit like Judy Jetson or something, which I think is of a similar time era, or a similar era in time, I should say. I know they couldn't have been that far apart, but I'm gonna guess that Peter Pan came out first. Nothing against Hanna-Barbera. I love Hanna-Barbera, but it was definitely a different type of animation studio where they were really trying to pump out some stuff quickly and inexpensively. It's actually the complete opposite of a lot of what they were doing at Disney. Not to say that they never tried to save money, absolutely, but the whole idea was different. It's kind of flat. And if you study some of these characters enough, you might be one of the lucky people that get to have their artwork up at the shops over there at Disneyland. If you ever go to downtown Disney, there's a shop there that they have up, and it's filled with fan art paintings of Disney characters. And unlike these, what we're doing right now, it's not a copy of what someone has already done. It's taking the characters and kind of making a whole new image. And most of them are done like painting, like acrylic paintings, or digitally, like in Photoshop paintings. And I think those are really great. And if you ever do fan art, that's one way to go. One of many ways to go. There are lots of arenas for people who are interested in doing fan art full time, even. And if you can do it and you can have it, displayed at for the Disneyland visitors, I think that's pretty neat. If you're that interested in Disney, there are lots of other areas also that you could focus your time in for fan art. Okay, well, that's it for Tinkerbell, but she was a blast to draw. I really enjoyed drawing Tinkerbell. She was pretty interesting. I liked it quite a bit. Thank you, Tinkerbell. And I'm going to save this. And let's go ahead. All right, so we have Faylene here. And like I was saying before, Mr. Mark Davis did a ton of animal drawing. He loved drawing animals. He loved studying animals. He played a huge part in Bambi. I don't know if they would have, I don't know if they would have gotten Bambi to be the Bambi that we know and love without Mark Davis. So Mark Davis did an amazing job. And with these, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to time it for 10 minutes, but I'm going to try and do as many of these poses, these fast poses as possible, and just see where we get. I think it'll be kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm just going to do really quick, sort of like ink style sketching, because I'm a huge animal drawing nerd myself. If you know, which you may know, I love drawing animals. So maybe I can get some of these. And they're really gestural, even though these are character designs. I still love that they're really quick gesture poses. Like he was really like studying animals and like studying deer when he was like he had to be when he was doing these because I can just see it. I can see the life in it. I can see sort of just like the motion in it. It's still there, and I really appreciate it as an animal drawing person myself. And I'm going to try and do a couple of these as many as I can do in the time span that we have. And just see how far we can get. Trying to do as many as possible. No, I said that already, but it's like I can only think limited when I'm drawing. I only have a certain amount of like brain span to spend drawing intently. Intentionally, I don't know which one would be the better fit. I love these poses though, they're really great. And you can easily draw these from like just referencing like some deer footage. I don't know where you can get deer footage. Actually, yes, I do. Right here on YouTube, I'm sure you can Google deer running, and you can just sketch You can just sketch animals on video if you're interested in learning more about animal drawing. Um, of course, come to the zoo. We're going to be at the zoo on Friday now. So if you are interested in joining our workshop here at Los Angeles Zoo, you can come and attend. It's going to be Fridays now, and Fridays at 10:15. We're meeting at the Flamingos, and you guys can join us if you like to draw animals, and or even if you don't like, well, if you don't like to draw animals, then I wouldn't come to an animal fun workshop. Another purpose is to draw the animals. So, if you are not, what I think I was trying to get at though, if you don't are not confident in your animal drawing ability or afraid to draw animals, it's still a place where you are more than welcome to come. The whole purpose of coming is to learn to draw animals. So if you are not confident in your ability to draw um, wild animals or any type of animals in a really proficient way, don't be discouraged by that. Nobody is born knowing how to draw animals. You just have to practice and it's a workshop. So I would encourage you to come and draw with us. Let's see. I'm going to do this one here. Oh, really cute. That one's much more like characters. But I can still. So I want to encourage you to keep drawing. And let's see, where are we? Oh, we still have time. Look at that. We still have time to draw more here. Look at that. We're like on a roll here, aren't we? We have time to draw more here. Let's see. Where can I fit them though? Where can I fit these deer, which we have more time to draw? And Marc Davis was actually quite famous for drawing at the zoo. He once said, and actually the documentary, which I'm going to link for you guys, that he was at the zoo more than the animals were. So, I mean, zoo drawing is not a new thing. Zoo drawing is something that artists have been using for years to get better at learning to draw animals and really incorporating them. Even at the Disney studios, sometimes live animals, a lot of times whenever there's a animated movie being made about any particular animal, I mean, especially known for Lion King, live animals were brought to the studios, you guys. That's how important it is to draw animals from life. Just want you guys to take that into consideration. Draw animals, draw them a lot. Don't be intimidated by them. They're a lot easier to draw than hands are, even though some of them sort of have hands. It's not. It's always easier to draw what you love, though. If you really love animals, it's going to be easier for you to draw that. If you really love drawing, if you really love babies, it's like per se, it's going to be easier for you to draw babies. If you love cars, it's going to be easier for you to draw cars. We just are better naturally, I think, at drawing things that we really enjoy. So for me, animals is one of those things. Animals is probably the biggest one of those things. But for you, maybe it's something else. But it's always helpful to expand as much as possible and to give and just try it out and see how you like it. And if you notice, animals have a lot of similarities in your bone structure, in your muscle structure to humans. So, I mean, that's where that figure drawing comes in handy too. If you're practicing your figure drawing, it's going to be a lot easier for you to draw animals, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to draw people. It's going to be a lot easier for you to draw, period. And let's see if we can do one more. I was kind of pushing it. We'll see. If I'll give it a try. And that is our timer. That 10 minutes is up. It is time to move on. But that was fun. That's a lot of drawings for 10 minutes. And now, look at us. We are about to draw one of the characters that Marc Davis is most well known for. It's one of my favorite villains of all time. Probably she's one of yours too. She's a classic character. And her name is Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. Had to I know I don't have the singing voice, but I had to add that in just because who doesn't love Cruella? Cruella, Cruella. I had to. Let's go ahead and start. She's like a spider waiting for the cue. I love that song. It's so catchy. Everyone, you have to love that song. And I'm gonna start with her face because her face, really is what her expression of hello, she was you. If you've seen the movie as many times as I had, you remember exactly what's happening in this part. It's the only part of the conversation where she's happy, and that was right after she hung up the phone with Anita, her college nemesis. Come on, how down to earth is that? It's her college nemesis, and she's like, oh, I heard about the puppies. She's being snarky about it, but she knows that she's the one, obviously, who stole the puppies. So Cruella is here. She's basking in her evilness, and then here goes Flotsam and Jetsam calling her on her home phone, and she quickly is really mad right after this scene. So a little just her little half a second of joy in her life that she actually has right before she gets incredibly pissed off again. She always is mad, as most viewers are. She's never really satisfied completely. So here she goes, right in her little moment, right before it all turns to anger and frustration and impatience, I guess also would be a good word to describe it. And You know what? Cruella is like, I think, really sort of I, I don't know what the word would be. I guess just a game changer for villains, um, in general. Like I love Cruella because she really kind of changed the way that we can look at villains. Like she was really a Renaissance villain. Like how many like there would have been no Devil Wears Prada if it wasn't for Cruella de Vil. There wouldn't have been a lot of characters, a lot of villainous characters. If it wasn't for Cruella, there wouldn't have been a Madame Medusa. There wouldn't have been, I don't think, a Ursula. I mean, I just feel like Cruella really started it all for the female villain. She was, I mean, she's just good. Right? And like the only one that I can think of before her that was really that. Obviously, yes, there were more female villains, and there are a lot of female villains in Disney. But I think the only really like groundbreaking one for me before Cruella was in Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent. Maleficent is amazing. But Maleficent was also done by Mark Davis. So the same genius mind making and creating and bringing life. Like in those days, there was no character design position. The animator was designing the characters as well. And, Mark Davis designed Cruella and animated Cruella and, really brought this lady life. And I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to get lost between where her fingers are and where the space between her fingers are. Because now it looks like she has 100 fingers. So I want to try and root together the first two, root together the third one, root this last one. And the thumb is not showing, so that's fine. Got this long, skinny arm. She's first super skinny, high fashion villain. Like she's a rich lady. She's rich and successful, and she's not a demon. She just acts like one. And I think that's what's one of the things that's just really special about Cruella. She's just a regular person, and we've all met people like that. We've all known even like bosses and family members who just, as Mark Davis said, are all talk but won't have anything to hear about what you have to say. They'll just make a statement, and as soon as you begin to respond, just talk right over you. And I think we all know people that way, and or maybe have been the person before. I don't know. I'm just saying, but it's like it's really kind of it's just something really real about Cruella. And I just feel like even though it's obviously absurd that a lady wants to kill a bunch of dogs, but like that's how much she does not care. She just does not care, and she's unapologetic about it. And you have to kind of appreciate that. The fact that she's just like, hey, you know what? I'm okay with killing dogs for fashion. That works for me. It sounds crazy to us, but if it works for Koala, then that's her. That's who she is. I want to bring this arm down. Make room for her pretty large face. Hopefully she doesn't start making too much noise. Okay, let me see. I think probably there. But I'm gonna have to organize some things a little bit. I think maybe this is too long. She very much looks like a skeleton, and she looks a lot like the character in what's the name of that movie about South America? Gosh, it just slipped. I've seen it a million and one times, but The name has just slipped me. It's another Disney movie, but it came out in like the early 2000s, and as the Kronk is her little sidekick. Gosh, why can't I remember? It's not Road to El Dorado, but it's similar to Road to El Dorado. And gosh, I don't know. Emperor's New Groove. There you go. She's a lot like that lady. So I think obviously that character, the villain lady in that movie was obviously inspired by Cruella de Vil. It's kind of undeniable in that sense. I think anyway. I love her little pajama. I think it's so cute with the little bow. I just think it's adorable. She's almost like this uh Betsy Johnson type of character. She's like a I don't know, there's something just radical about her, about Cruella that's just so entertaining to watch. And I don't know, I just eat this stuff up. I love talking about the characters and about designs and animation. I just love this stuff. So hopefully it's something that you love too. And I can just talk about it. Alright, I'm gonna bring the opacity down and start to clean her out a little bit. Okay, so let's see where we can go with Cruella. She having her little moment right before the storm. And I love the little like rollers. My grandmother used to wear rollers like that. Oh my goodness. I just love the simplicity, but like attention to detail, I think is really what makes the Disney Studios stand out to me is that just real, genuine attention to detail. And I think that's like the number one thing in studying a character and bringing it to life is just really paying attention to people, what they do, their mannerisms, what they wear in their hair when they go to sleep. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. We're gonna work on her a little bit longer. I still have one more character that I want to get to, but just gotta give Cruella a little bit more time because I think she deserves it. How could she not? She is Cruella. I mean, the villains oftentimes, and if you're a writer or aspiring to write for animation, especially or for comics, I want to encourage you to have a good villain because if you'll notice, oftentimes the villains are more interesting than the main character. The villains are often more interesting than your hero, and it sounds crazy and it seems odd, and you might not get it at first because like what? Oh, everybody is interested in Luke. But who does everyone dress up as for Halloween? Darth Vader, you know? It's like it's really all about the villain and the hero is just, you know, the hero is supposed to represent you and me, which is just I mean, sorry to say, but it's pretty much the average Joe. It's just the normal guy anywhere and just deciding to take their life from normal to like doing something that's brave and courageous that we all admire. And that's pretty much what a hero is. Hero is kind of a boring guy but he has enough of whatever that is within him or her that says, I'm not going to stay, you know, in this position. I am going to do something, even though I'm scared to do it, and I'm going to do it because it's the right thing. And for whatever reason, hero goes out and does the right thing, and everyone loves the hero because hero was so brave. Because hero faced the villain, but the villain is the real superstar. I mean, the villain is the rock star in all of these movies. So I think it's important to have a good villain. And let's see what else. You know what? I was thinking, I was kind of debating because I love, if you don't already know, I love Moana. And I think it's a great movie, and I think it's a great thing, you know, for people and for culture. And I really respect the movie. And one of the things I have to say is like, I was trying to figure out how I liked it, even though they didn't really have a villain. I mean, there's kind of like sort of villains in the movie, but there's never, there's not really like a really clear villain. It's not done like in a traditional way, and it's something we need to think about too. Like, this movie doesn't really have a villain. But then I realized that kind of the villain in Moana is Maui. And Maui is a super strong character. Maui is a really interesting character, much more, you know, out there and engaged than Moana herself is. Which, you know, none of the heroes are really super, you know, couldn't have a movie with just the hero alone. You just can't. It's going to be boring. But, you know, kind of what he represents, even though it's kind of like a, I feel like he kind of represents sort of an internal struggle within all of us. And I kind of feel like, you know, having him there instead of having really more, and even though yes, there's the lava god and there's the big shiny crab, it's it's different. It's a different way of doing it. And I do think it could have been stronger if they used like a really strong villain throughout. But I feel like it still works. It could have been better with a major villain, but it still works because they have Maui who's representative. Sort of angst, I guess. Which is essentially what the villain's purpose is to create the angst. Sort of, can it be done or not, you know? But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, I think. Film nerd, kind of animated film nerd, much less makes me a super nerd. So, anyway, I keep moving through these, and I'm almost done with Cruella. I'm not going to get her entire clean, finished drawing done, but I think we'll get enough of her that will tell the idea, which is really bad. And I'm just going to quickly put in, let's see, a couple of parts that I would really like to include. I'm going to finish this phone. Just at least part of it. Draw her cute little bow because I just think it's adorable. And she kind of has, even though she's this, hard lady, she still has bows and ribbons in her clothing. I just think it's so real. Because even like the meanest ladies still wear bows and still wear curlers or, straighten their hair or whatever. Even the meanest ladies wear what they look like a lot of the time. I would say even the meanest of ladies really care about what they look like. It's just that thing that, you know, and I think I'm just going to kind of get ready to wrap this one up. And okay, I'm gonna say thank you, Cruella. You were a lot of fun. And I learned a lot from drawing you. And we're gonna go on to our last character of the day, which is Maleficent. Oh, Maleficent. She scared the bleepity bleep out of me when I was a kid. Oh man, like I said, Sleeping Beauty was one of the first um, animated movies, much less first Disney's that I've ever seen, and that scene with the that scared me so bad. It still scares me. And that's probably why I didn't put Sleeping Beauty on right now because I didn't want to get scared right now. It's so scary. And I just think that being able to scare an audience with animation is a whole other feat. Like, that's a whole other feat, especially like just her elegance. Like, she's so quiet and calm and classy. And then she just like boom, explodes and is evil and is mean and is cruel and is impatient and just angry. And that makes her, to me, really scary. It's just, it's very human. Like, it's still, it's very human. And it's, so, you might know someone in your life who has been that way. Very calm, very elegant, very sophisticated, and yet very, very mean. And I think having that believability in a villain is super, takes a certain amount of a skill um, to get that essence into a person. Hopefully, I said that right. Hopefully, I got my message out. I think kind of was getting at it, but make this hand a little bit shorter. Pull it back a little bit. Even though I like it kind of long like that. Okay, so let's see. Super feminine touches that she has. But still, like I was saying before, she's got a lot of sharp ankles that they were using at the time to be reminiscent of the medieval and super long neck. Still, like, I don't know how they got away with this, like, super Halloweeny type of Dracula cape that she has, but it works. And even the costume itself is really like nothing really is too medieval about it, except for the fact that it looks like maybe tapestry or something. Um, but it works. It just works for a reason. And I have no complaints. I love it. It's great. And Maleficent remains to be one of my favorite villains of all time. This original, not the remake with Angelina Jolie. I think I could have done without that. I was super excited, I have to say, when I first heard about it, because I was like, oh, Angelina Jolie has the perfect look, that, really beautiful, elegant look to play Maleficent, but I totally forgot that Angelina Jolie is not particularly the best actress in the world. Not that I am either, but I'm just saying, and I don't want to be mad. Sorry. It just, it just didn't work per se. So I don't want to be judgmental. That's my bad, my mistake. But I think we could have all done without that remake. Just, just saying. I didn't understand where the pants came from, and I didn't understand where, like, all of a sudden she's a nice lady. I'm like, are you kidding me? All of a sudden she is like the caretaker of Aurora, when in the animated version she clearly says that she possesses the powers of hell. She really said that? Like, wow, that's a big difference. That's a huge difference. This is like literally, she's like a satanic woman, and they say that in the movie. Like, if you listen, pay attention. She's evil. Like, she really is an evil lady, self-proclaimed. So I don't know. I don't know. I just think that's a little bit inconsistent. It's just a little bit inconsistent with her nature. And I think as all fanboys and fangirls, we like our characters to be consistent. All we ask for. That's all we want. Our characters to be who they were created to be. And even though they're fictional, we all know that, but we still want them to be consistent. That's all we really want. Fans. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a normal song, even though it's not showing. I still want to feel that out. Okay, let's begin to go over this a little bit. I'm going to take this down. Let me see if I can cut this side. Edit, cut, edit, paste, in place. And I'm going to take the opacity down. Okay. And here we go. This is our last and final attempt. So wish me luck, and I will wish you luck. Anyway, whether you wish me luck or not. All right. So I'm going to start with the eyes again. And little tiny little pupil. Look at that tininess. And she looks really confident. And unlike Tinkerbell, this is a real confident lady. She understands that she is powerful, and I think she walks into the room knowing that. Well, she doesn't walk in, she kind of flame bursts into the room, knowing that she is incredibly powerful and can essentially kill the whole kingdom right there if she wanted to. But she kind of, has that same complex that every villain has, and they won't act on their power because if they did, there would be no movie. So they have to draw it out in this long, exaggerated way. Like 16 years, the baby will, in 60 years, no quinceanera for her, she's gonna die, that's what's gonna happen. But you have to wait 60 years first, and she's gonna prick it in this abstract way on a spinning wheel, which is really ridiculous, but that's just what it is. I think it's symbolic of something. It has to be. All of those fairy tales in those time were always symbolic of things. Like, so I don't know what the moral of the story was for Sleeping Beauty, but I guarantee you there's more. And I think it's a little bit more complicated than just love finds a way or whatever. I think it's a little bit more something to it. Really, she has such a pretty face. Imagine if she let her hair down, like all the kings would be after her. Well, of course, she would have to change her attitude, but you can't just go around, cursing people and babies. Who curses babies? Okay, Maleficent. Let's see. What can we learn from you today, Maleficent? I'm trying to just take it all in. Such a good character. Not in terms of morals, of course, and design wise. That's our timer, guys. Of course, I'm gonna go a little bit more. I have to get a little bit more of Maleficent in the picture. I don't think I'll be able to stay this late for many of my studying the masters. We did a lot today. We did a lot. I have to celebrate, guys. 100 people. 102 now. Probably 103 subscribers. That's a huge deal. I'm really excited. I'm really happy. And probably being giddy all day, and that's why it's because I'm really excited, because I really am just wanting to share and looking forward to sharing art making with more people, as many people as possible. Every person counts, every person matters. I'm just really glad. Like I said yesterday, I did a celebration video for the 100 subscribers, and I just want to say again, thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Share this video with your artist friends, people who like to draw, people who love Disney, and people who love animation in general. And hold on a second, let me draw this. And I just want to say that I'm really just grateful. I'm really grateful. And I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate every single person that took the time to watch and hear what I have to say whenever I'm like goofy or just like odd. I know I'm I can be a little bit odd, and I know I can be a little bit even, just shy, and it just takes a lot of, you know, I guess, as every sort of an introvert knows, it takes a little bit more effort just to try and push yourself to get out there and to talk to people and to share what you love with other people. And I just think that this channel has been that for me, and I really appreciate that. I really do. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. And let's see, what can we do to monetize? I feel like this thing, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Let's see, I want to fix this angle. I think I didn't have spaced out the other two a little bit more, but that's okay. Oh, I didn't even draw her bird. And I love ravens, even though it's a crow. I can tell just by the sound of it that it is a crow. I have to draw a bird. Just have to, because I love the animals. That bird had a really cool role too in the movie. If you've seen it before, you know that bird had a pretty played a pretty big role in finding Sleeping Beauty and letting the queen know. Even though she had her little stool pigeons, her men who went out and searched for Sleeping Beauty for all those years. The real detective there was this crow, this evil pet that she has, which became a trend, I guess. The evil pet. I think I wanted I almost thought for a second, well, how come Cruella didn't have an evil pet? And then I thought, Cruella was not an animal lover in the least. So I guess that would be why Cruella did not have evil. Let's see. Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense for Cruella to have a pet because Cruella, yeah, she really didn't care about animals, obviously. So that makes more sense. And even crows have toes. Even crows have toes, and that rhymes. So I'm gonna go back and do a little bit more sketching, a little bit more finalizing. I really want to get this bird in there because I think the bird is really cool. And next week, I was really thinking about doing James Wood. He is a really cool artist that I really admire a lot. I don't know how well known or not he is. He's a very contemporary artist. I mean, he's still working in the studios today. So he's not of the golden age or anything like that. He's a really contemporary artist. He's probably younger than me, for all I know. But I really like his style, and I really think it's a really sort of a universal almost style for feature animation drawing. It's sort of like something that is his way of drawing is really something that I think is good to learn um, if you want to do um, concept art for feature film. And I know that's kind of a big dream, but I think a lot of us have it. And if you have that dream, then you might as well try. All right, you might as well go for it. You might as well do whatever you can to at least give it a try. Only one life that we get to live, and so whatever your dream is, as long as it's for the good of you and for others, and you can do something to help somebody with your dream, then I think you should go. And there she is with her evil bird. And I love her ring too. She has like this fashionable sort of a ring. And I'll be done in a second. I just don't want to miss the important stuff. Don't want to treat it as if, okay, well, timer's up, well, let's just pack it up and go. Um, it's a little bit more deep than that. I'm gonna let you know that I'm not just drawing these just to draw them. They matter to me. I hope that they matter to you as well. And let's see. What is switching here? Yeah, I didn't even do my run yet for the day, so I gotta go outside and run after this. I promise you, I'm not procrastinating too much. I will do it. I will go run. It's important for artists to get their exercise somehow. So it doesn't matter if you don't run. Find something active to do. If you're an artist and you sit down a lot, which most of us do, kind of goes hand in hand with drawing, find a way to be active. Find a way to get your heart moving, to get your lungs moving, to just get some energy. It's going to strengthen you, it's going to give you a longer life, God willing, because you're just going to be healthier, stronger, and you're going to feel a lot better. Get out and move your body some. So I would suggest that, during your lunch break today, or even take the long way home, just take a walk, do something to get yourself moving today. I think it's important, especially for those of us who draw. Just because you draw doesn't mean that you can't be active, and just because you draw doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care of your body. Because I think it's very important that we do that. Or else who's going to be there drawing when we're gone? We got to be sticking around to make more drawings and make more arts. Take care of yourself, take care of your body, spend time with your family, value the things that are important to you, because you don't want to wait till it's gone to really appreciate things that are good in your life. So I just want to encourage you today, do a little bit of that. I want to thank you again for being a part of this channel. It's not just me here, it's all of us here. We're all learning together and we're all growing together. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you guys. I want you to have a great week and a great day. And I'm going to see you on Friday. But until then, as always, be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. See you next time. Bye-bye.